you're thinking. You're probably thinking you're about to sit through a film full of apocalyptic horrors. Raging storms, towering waves, melting ice caps, barren deserts, bleached coral. But actually, that's not the idea here at all. Of course, you are looking at a cataclysmic storm. The experts called it a superstorm. They named it Sandy. Superstorm Sandy recently raged over the east coast of the United States, creating havoc in the city I currently live in, New York. This storm was an inevitability. We knew it was coming, and we had a very good idea of the damage it would do. There was no escaping it. Sure enough, when it arrived, it was ugly and destructive. It caused pain and distress. But we survived, and now we are getting on with our lives. Maybe the challenge of climate change can be looked at in a similar way. A storm on the rise, becoming more ferocious in its effects as it gathers force. But, and this is a big but, is this storm an inevitability? Because the challenge of climate change is so great, is it actually beyond our capacity to rise to it? Are the negative consequences inevitable? You are probably wondering what gives a young Qatari woman you've probably never heard of the right to ask such bold questions. Well, I am someone who has faced tough challenges. I've realized goals, even when many around me said that failure was inevitable. My name is Noor Ahmed Al-Khouri, and I am a Qatari graduate of Weill Cornell Medical College in Qatar. Currently, I'm doing my residency training in New York. When I set my heart on becoming a doctor, many thought this ambition was crazy. But I'm not the kind of person who listens much to doubters. My vision for myself mirrors the vision many young Qataris have for their nation, that it will continue to be open and progressive, a place of opportunity for all. And it is because I have never been afraid of seizing opportunities that I have been given the honor of speaking to you, to urge you to seize this opportunity and make real progress. There is no effort too insignificant, no small step forward which isn't worth taking. Not a single one of you can afford to sit back and wait for someone else to make the difference. You must all stand up and be counted. Waiting, not acting now, would be a heartbreaking waste of time. If we doctors treated patients with long-term medical conditions this way, waiting until they entered a critical phase before acting, we would be justly accused of malpractice, or worse, cruelty. Which doesn't mean we have to live under a cloud of gloom and despair. I believe with all my heart that everything you do, your actions, can and will make a difference to the lives of real people right now on our precious planet. I understand that what you have to do is often thankless. I know your hard work doesn't always make the headlines or receive the credit it deserves. But despite this, I also know you must do it. For all of us. For me and the other 6,999,983,000 who are depending on you. This muku bag is a perfect example of our ability to make optimism. Look inside.
One day when I went to my school principal announced that there will be no plastic day on 4th February 2010. So I came to my house and I asked my mom, why shouldn't I not use the plastic bag? Then she told me the harms and I was very scared that if our plastic bag harms the environment a lot, why are we keep on using the plastic bag? Then I thought that why can't we recycle old newspapers and start making bags? This is how I started.
I was thinking that maybe after 10-15 days he will stop it. But he did not. He tried to make more and more and tried to fine-tune it.
Beginning, he made about 4,000 to 5,000 paper bags by himself.
If I give it to the grocer will make them understand that plastic is very harmful. Here are some more bags which I made from newspaper to stop plastic bags. How do the customers like the bags?
The grocery man was very, very convinced by him. So he was asking customers to use this. So many ladies and the school teachers, they stop using plastic bag. They feel ashamed that if a small child is making so much awareness, that how can we carry the bags?
Muku is just a normal boy. He reads a lot of books. He has a big football plan and his wish is to become a football player.
My teachers have been very supportive to me. When they first heard about I'm taking this big initiative to stop plastic bags and replace them with paper bags, they told me to show how to make a paper bag in front of the class, that they can get aware and stop plastic bags and use paper bags. Now we have to make like these bags and these file bags.
He has shared his information with me so many times, and he also has given me some sort of inspiration.
It's called a Muku bag because my pet name is Muku and my friends named the bag. When we throw plastic bags in the sea, our dear turtles come and eat it. The system gets choked and again they die a very painful death. In 1 year, 1 million sea creatures die because of plastic bags.
He has been honored by most prestigious award.
I went to Emirat's Palace and the Crown Prince His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan had presented me the Abu Dhabi Award.
It's a great moment for the school, and we feel really proud of the boys' contributions to the environment.
That remarkable boy has had an effect on people all over the world. He has encouraged others to stand up and be counted. And the good news is, he is not alone.
Madagascar is the 4th largest island in the world. It's been isolated from all the other land masses for about 130 million years. During that time, it's evolved an extraordinary group of plants and animals that are found nowhere else on Earth. At the very beginning, when humans arrived, deforestation began. But it hasn't been to the last 500 years that there's been increases of deforestation to the point where more than 80%, nearly 90% of the original forest has been destroyed. This has made a huge impact on the flora and fauna of Madagascar. Many of the animals that lived here before are gone. The major extinction is extraordinary. I discovered a new species of lemur here in Ranmafan, and then the timber exploiters came and started to destroy the forest. Somebody had to do something, and I realized it had to be me. When we started here in Madagascar, we didn't plan on building the Center of El Bio. It has evolved, really, just for our needs, the needs of the local people, the needs of research scientists. The world has changed. Now there's incredible technology available to study this amazing biodiversity. We needed a place where that could come together, where we could do the genetics, where we could do the hormones, where we could do the kinds of science that needs to be done in a country like this, so rich in biodiversity. Salama, salama. We started our education programs for the local villagers almost immediately because we realized that they needed to know why their animals and plants were so special. It makes me really feel good, knowing that the health of these villagers is better, knowing that the economics of these villagers is better, knowing that they know more about the animals and plants that they see every day. Salama! One of the most important things that the Center of El Bio does is it grows trees, thousands and thousands of trees, and then we plant them out on degraded areas, and they grow, and within a decade or two, they will fruit and flower. and provide foods for lemurs and all the other Malagasy animals. It's amazing. It's vital that this rainforest survives forever, not just for me, but for all of you.
Like the team in Madagascar, you are planting seeds of change. The world needs you. I have a feeling there are lots of times when you forget how vital your individual contribution is, especially when you're trying to make it. Being chest deep in the challenge makes it almost impossible to look beyond and remember what you're working so hard for. So, I am hoping these stories of people striving to make a difference, despite many difficulties, will remind you that you are them, and they need you.
The coral is everything here in the Maldives. Right now we can say we've got still a lot of corals. They think that in 2050 already there won't be any. So that's not a very enticing prospect for anyone, I think.
In the year 2000, we found ourselves in the aftermath of the El Nino, and 90% of the corals in our house reef were dead.
The reef was not looking good at all. We were having maybe 1% or 2% only live coral cover.
When Thomas from CMARC came up with this little frame and said, I think this might work, we just said, let's give it a shot and let's try it.
Now we can employ people on this island to manufacture the frames that are sent to the resort.
Having the frame building here is bringing in more ideas and more opportunities for the people. We can do a lot more things with the community.
I wanted to see if I could actually try to develop some economic activity on such an island to encourage the people to stay and stick to their values.
What they're doing is a big part of awareness, because this is where it starts. The frame starts here.
We started with a few frames, and now there are hundreds and actually thousands of them.
We need to multiply this again by 10 or 20 because we are talking about 840 kilometers of coral reefs from the north to the south of Maldives.
You just can't stand back and not do something when you can do something.
If I can select some resistant individuals of different coral species, hopefully I can postpone for a few years their forecasted death. So this is in Nafusi. The government has listed to us, and we hope to build a marine center here.
Thomas and Marie are an interesting element and addition to how we live here and how we work here. Him being the cool scientist, us being the business, her being the Maldivian, passionate about her country and her reef and her people. It's really a symbiosis between Four Seasons and CMARC.
I do organize workshops to work with the youth from the islands.
It's fun to see that when you embrace an idea, that you actually are able to make a difference, and things can improve and things can change, and nature is stronger than people might think, you know. Nature can rejuvenate itself if you give it a bit of a hand.
If we manage to keep the corals alive, then we will maintain the Maldives afloat. So let's see if we can do something about it.
It is impossible to predict the future. The best way to predict it is to shape it. The global agreement among the nations is to limit global warming to below 2 degrees centigrade. If you add that to your body temperature, you arrive at 39 degrees, but substantial fever already. Unfortunately, if you look at all the pledges made by the various nations to the UN Convention on Climate Change, that will add up to about 3.5 to 4 degrees centigrade by 2100. If you add 4 degrees to your body temperature, you are dead. And that's about the course we are on. What we do here at the Potsdam Institute, I think, is fairly unique. We try to do what we call Earth system analysis, an integrated look at our planet. You think of what is going on in the atmosphere, what is going on in the oceans, how do they interact with the biosphere, with plants and animals, and so on. And it all has to be unified within computer modeling. We also try to figure out what are the social movements that can bring about transformational change in order to still keep global warming below 2 degrees. So it is spanning a fantastic universe, and there are now other institutions doing the same. We have often seen in history that sometimes just a small idea among a small group of people becomes extremely powerful, and this is what I would call a social tipping point. You transgress a social boundary, and then the whole system changes. And that, for example, has been demonstrated in the abolition of slavery, that just 12 people, actually in a bookshop in London, started to set out for this abolishment movement, and they persevered and in the end changed the world. So that has to happen now. One must not be ashamed of doing something unspectacular or at a very low level of ambition. What counts is when you start doing something, and when the ambition will rise as you are going. Every CO2 molecule that will not be released into the atmosphere counts. Everybody has to make a contribution.
Count me in. That is what these determined individuals are declaring through their actions. They are providing a kind of illumination.
The Science Park was established 5 years ago by Her Highness Sheikh Hamza to create an environment where a lot of applied research could be carried out, which had immediate benefit for the country and for the region in particular. And eventually, if you're successful, it'll have a wider impact. We feel as a nation that we have a duty to protect our environment, and as such, we not only have commercial instruments in place, but also we encourage science and technology development. We decided to invest in research in solar energy. It's the obvious one for us to focus on, because in research you need to work in areas where you have inherent strength, and the strength here is the climate.
Here in Qatar, what we're doing is to develop a solar test facility that is a sister project to 3 other test facilities that we have in California and in New Mexico in the United States. And the idea is to understand how climate affects the different solar technologies and identify those that do best, that are most efficient in the different environments.
We see ourselves as being, with our partners, really large developers and investors in clean technology throughout the region. We want to make sure that we play a significant role in pushing ahead clean technologies that make sense for our environment, that make sense for our societies, and that help for sustainable development through the entire region. The support we get from the Science Park has been tremendous. So it's been really a blessing for us to be here and to have QSTP based here and to nurture what we've been trying to do for the past 4 years.
Solar is going to play an ever-increasing role in ensuring that our growth is sustainable and a smaller carbon footprint.
Innovation is when you find a new use for an existing technology and you improve it. And that's what we're trying to do.
I believe that the compelling stories we've seen prove we can rise and rise again to the challenge of climate change. We can make a difference. Please seize the opportunity you have here while the opportunity exists. Step beyond any preconceptions, doubts, or despondency which might be constraining you, limiting you, holding you back. Break out and break free.